With engaging with family, it's remembering to treat them as if how you want to be treated, and to take away entitlement, expectations, and ego.
Roll me, Mac.
Having to set boundaries with friends and family you've known all your life. The shortcut version of it to me is to remove the labels and look at everybody as human, which is a label itself, right? But I mean, as far as titles go. But when you're engaging with those people, remember to put you first in the sense of respect, and take yourself seriously. If you're joking about something, if you're laughing about something that was meant to be disrespectful to you, that's encouraging. A comedian is on stage for the laughs. So the more laughs you get, the more they go into whatever the subject is, you know what I mean? So I would say how I like to engage with it is I spend a lot of time with myself, which is very key, because how you treat yourself, you won't let anybody treat you any less than what you treat yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I do my best to try to be my best friend when it's just me. And so being kind to myself. So when I recognize like someone that is being unkind to me, I remove myself from the situation. I don't give a fuck who it is. Friends, family, coworkers, whatever. It's like, okay, I get it. You think that I'm the punching bag for whatever reason, for whatever it is that you're going through. It has nothing to do with me. I'm just, I'm in the middle of you sleepwalking through your pain, and you believe that you're going to use me as a crutch to continuously project your pain onto me. And you have to decide what it's going to be. Because, I mean, we choose how we feel. Anger is a choice response. Happiness, smiling is a choice response. Sadness is a choice response. Everything we do is a choice response. We might be trained and, by the situations that we've gone through to respond a certain way, but it's still a choice. And it's taking back ownership of your mind in those situations. So with engaging with family, it's remembering to treat them as if how you want to be treated, and to take away entitlement, expectations, and ego. Because we tend to have this expectation and entitlement when it comes to the people that we love. It's to me, what I look at as an unhealthy attachment. For me, I won't speak on anybody else, but when I find myself getting like that, where I have this idea of somebody in my mind, and then they let down my idea that was only in my mind. They didn't have the script. They didn't have their lines. They didn't know to respond a certain way to this. And it's looking at yourself and it's like, okay, how would they know to do that? You didn't tell them to do that. You know what I mean? So it's like learning how to speak your needs, if you will. But interesting, I believe there's just an interesting way of rolling with that, especially like that as a man. You have to tread very softly with as far as expressing needs goes. You know what I mean? Like expressing needs and having a frame are two different things. And it's truly about knowing how to gauge those two things. A healthy balance, if you will. But that's for that man to figure out himself. And the reason why I say that is because society is more acceptable of women expressing their needs. And like, again, if a man were to constantly talk about his needs to his woman, eventually she would start to feel like a mom, and attraction would then cease, if you will. So, and attraction is key. Love is one thing, but attraction is motherfucking key. I'm tell you like that. You know, attraction is what keeps your relationship going. Attraction is what keeps you going back to that particular product. You know what I mean? Like the attraction to that drink of alcohol, the attraction to that dish at that restaurant, the attraction to, you know what I'm saying? Like it's appealing to you, and it gets your dopamine going. So once you no longer feel that dopamine from a particular thing, individual, and you know what I'm saying? Like I believe that's where shit gets haywire, if you will. Things get dry, it gets boring, and you know, and humans are wired to look for stimulation of some sort. So that's my theory on that. I am no relationship expert by any fucking means, but I am observant. That I will say, I'm very observant of human of human behaviors. I may not be a relationship expert. I'm damn sure, you know, observant of human behaviors, and we got a lot of rules and religions that kind of prevent us from, tell us to not do certain things, but your mind is your mind, your instinct is your instinct. We are humans, number one. Above anything else, we are human beings. But back to the point, boundaries. These boundaries setting with those that you love, it's remembering that me setting a boundary, a healthy boundary with you, is the way that I can love you and myself simultaneously. That's what they're there for. The ones that really value you for you won't have an issue with your boundaries. They have an adjustment period. But the ones that you set a boundary with and then they start writing off, well, I did this for you. You know, it was a control thing. You know what I'm saying? A conditional love is what we often do. I'm guilty of it myself in my mind. You know, again, those narcissistic ways that linger in the mind, you know what I'm saying? May not come out the mouth, but in your head, it's like thinking all this shit and you're thinking that the world revolves around you. And it doesn't. The world doesn't revolve around you, and you're not incomplete and you're not broken. You're fine just the way you are. So there's no need to try to control another person, and just let them do what they want to do, and be mindful when they do what they want to do, and decide if that still fits into your life. If with them doing what they want to do, you ask yourself, is this something that you're willing to live with? These behaviors, you know what I'm saying? It's a respect thing, and it's about having respect for yourself. But friends, you know what I'm saying? Like it's different when that friend starts to go and try to better themselves, right? And they're so used to the friend that is drinking or partying and whatnot. But when you try to like limit the amount of drinks that you have, and then you feel like they bumming the party or something like that, that lets you, to me, it can be taken that those individuals were only for what you were for. You know what I'm saying? As T.D. Jakes talks about the confidants, constituents, and your comrades. You know what I'm saying? Like the comrades are for what you are for. The constituents are against what you're against. And then the confidants are the ones that are in the trenches with you. They don't need to be seen. These are your roots, as Tyler Perry puts it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't need to be seen. They don't need to be recognized. But when hell hits, when tragedy strikes, when things that matter come into your life, they're there. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, if they're not tending to their own things in their lives, but for the most part, when things go haywire, when life gets challenging, your confidants are there, and you be very few to find that in your life. You know what I'm saying? To have a few confidants in your life, it's going to be, I imagine, it'll be for the average person less than five people. I haven't done all the statistics. I'm just saying this shit for the show. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be honest with you. It sounds good, goddammit. But confidants, less than 5 is less than 5 motherfuckers in your life that are going to be like your confidants. When you are in a jam, when your back is against the wall, tough times bring out a lot of people. Bring out a lot of character in a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, action is, action can be a word. Inaction can be a word. You know what I'm saying, as well. So, like, a person taking action can definitely be impactful. A person not taking action can also be very impactful in tough times. So it's like being mindful of what that means. And it's not for you to assume why a person did something. You know what I'm saying? That's not for us to do that. You never know what walk people are facing, the challenges that they faced in their life. Fear is very imminent, constant, and fear can prevent us from taking action on things. But it is those moments where courage comes out, because you do it despite the fear. And it takes time to gauge that in life, to build that up in life, to have that courage to overcome those fears and take action on things. But healthy boundaries are very, very vital for everyone. And knowing that you are valued, you're enough. You are enough, And when you don't have somebody telling you that repeatedly, because it just sounds awkward, but to know that you're enough every day, like going out into this world, not having to put on any airs, just being. That's it. Really just being. Don't get me wrong, like, a man must be made. Let me be clear on that. A man must be made. A woman is born, but a man must be made. You know what I'm saying? A sense of we got to build up our rapport, and a woman just has to not lose hers, is the beauty of that. And that's something that's a little bit more advanced. So if it comes off a bit harsh or tough to take in on the surface, do your research, and we can agree or disagree. But yes, a woman is born, a man must be made, in the sense of we have to build our value. And for the way our society just puts women on pedestals on a lot of things, it's up to the woman to not lose hers and how she carries herself in the world. And that's how you recognize healthy boundaries for you as a man, as far as like who's essentially built to have a family with, who's essentially built to be a wife who can have by those things right there. You know what I'm saying? It's key things. It's just something for us as men to keep in the back of our mind. When engaging with women. Said a lot of shit, and you may agree or disagree. I personally don't give a fuck, but that's what we do conversations for. It's not to say that your opinion doesn't matter. It's to say that mine does. I can make a person think. That's it. Just make them think. But healthy boundaries with friends, healthy boundaries with family, and healthy boundaries with coworkers are vital for survival, because not everybody is as kind as you are, as you would like to believe. It's highly questionable to live in a world where everyone is as kind as you. That's too much entitlement in our mind to believe that everybody in this world is going to be kind, because a lot of people go through shit and they sit in their pain, and sometimes it comes out. They project that onto you. Just remember to not take it personal. But that's why you have healthy boundaries, to protect yourself as much as possible. But yeah, that's how I engage with having healthy boundaries between friends, families, co-workers, every damn body. How'd you go about talking to girls when you first started finding them of interest? So I'm gonna let's call it 11, right? Let's call it 11. And my then girlfriend is, like, I would say, like, my first legitimate, no one forced me to do this. It was still peer pressure, but me and Carmen. And you know what I'm saying? Carmen still, I would say, we're cool. We're just older, and that's just puppy bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't speak to her all the time, you know, between the various Facebook pages and stuff, you know, just say hey and all that other shit. But how it worked was, hey, I think Carmen Carmen says you cute. Oh, okay. I think Carmen's cute too. And then, you know, we'd sit together on the bus, walk to each other's classes, but wouldn't say anything. I didn't know how to engage with a woman as far as conversation goes. So many fears. What if she doesn't like me? You know what I'm saying? I was doubting myself. My insecurities were in abundance. I was essentially the beta male in training, if you will. I put her on a pedestal. I didn't even recognize my own value, but I just knew I had to do for her because that's what society and Disney taught us, young boys, to do. When I would talk to girls, it was about being funny. And then actually, I want to say when I was 11 and, you know, when me and Carmen were talking, I had no fucking clue what I was doing. I'm fucking 11, you know what I mean? But talking to her was just like, I don't know, you like grapes? I like grapes. Or like, you watch TV? I like TV. Very basic. There was nothing there to engage your mind. I wasn't talking about anything thought-provoking, even for that age. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I was an 11-year-old, but just trying to, I don't know, try not to lose her was the mindset. Beta, all day long, concerned about that. You know what I'm saying? Like losing her instead of just building, instead of just learning how to engage with her. You know what I'm saying? By just talking to her. That's it. I mean, literally just having conversations is a person teaching you how to love them. That's really all it ever is. You know what I mean? And if you're paying attention, that is, you know, everyone's teaching you how to love them based off of the things that they say, depending on the questions that you ask. But yeah, 11 years old, it was just, I don't know. We would just talk about whatever was popular at the time. So you watched Martin last night, you watched Living Single, but like there was no legitimate game, period. There was no game at all there. And then let's move into, let's say about 8th grade, right? 8th grade. 8th grade is when I started to recognize that humor, that I could make a girl laugh. So, of course, here comes the court jester, the clown. The same thing I had been for the family. You know, the role that I chose for the family, to be seen, heard, and loved, is what I was now doing in a relationship. Now imagine, ladies, we're gonna get it again. You're 13, but imagine being talking to a guy and all he ever wanted to do was make a joke about everything. There was nothing to take seriously. There was no emotions expressed. That was blocked with humor. And that's how I kept you from it. I might do nice shit. I might bring you flowers or candy or whatever, stuff like that to show that I care about you. To me, that doesn't show it. As a grown man right now, that to me, bringing flowers or candy does not signify that you care about anybody. I don't agree with that assessment, but that's a whole nother ball game. But I started to get funny. You know what I'm saying? I started to become funny. And I wanted to keep being funny because I thought that was the way to keep her there. And when you don't take yourself seriously, no one else does. So there, you can imagine the type of situations I found myself in. Losing well, not losing, but the girl finding the guy with the edge to be more attractive, especially when we got to high school, you know, and just people coming up to you like, yo, man, just saw this cat, you know, rapping to your girl, man, you know, and you're sitting there like, what? Okay. And again, they the bitch days. So, fuck was I gonna do? Ain't about to fight over the girl. But it's not even it's the principle that matter. It was never fighting over the girl. It's just how you carry yourself. And like, it's okay. Like, what are you saying? It's okay for people to do this. But that's hindsight. You know what I'm saying? Hindsight, you see it, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's what, you know, could have been done. But that's why it's important to have those conversations with men of valor, masculine men, to tell you as a young boy how to carry yourself and engaging with girls coming up. But you know what I'm saying? I would say, like, as I got into high school, more conversations there would be some women that were very thought-provoking. I say back home, we did have a lot of women with sense, if you will, substance and all that. I mean, I give credit to my best friend, T-Dot, you know, as far as like for exposing me to a lot of things that I didn't know as far as conversation goes. And what that did was help me want to learn more about myself, and then more about learning them, you know what I'm saying, as far as engaging with them and having conversation. Still funny though. Still funny. We would talk about, you know, shit that was funny. Music for sure. Definitely music. We were in the neo soul, J.Z., Dipset time frame in high school. So there's a lot to talk about, you know, as far as like rapping to the girls, but we would just be flirting and just saying random stuff that didn't make much sense. Just being kids. Yeah, just being kids. And, but engaging with them on the phone, like if you were talking to me, I would just flirt. You know, I would just flirt, you know, try my best to be a charmer, saying whatever, people pleasing, saying whatever it took to get a smile out of you, a laugh out of you, or whatever, in hopes that you would engage with me in intimacy. Because again, I wasn't getting it like that, not at all. Too afraid, number one. I thought that the first girl I touched was gonna get pregnant. You know, go figure. What would happen later on, right after high school, literally right after high school. But it was just trying to find a way, really just trying to be seen, heard, and loved in various ways. And I thought that by being this charmer, being this individual that would say all the right things to this girl that I was, you know, had an attraction for, was the way to do that. And then when I did get one of them that I really, really liked, I smothered the shit out of him with because of that fear, because you're not used to consistent love growing up in a home that doesn't necessarily show it consistently. This style of love, that is, like the love that was shown was constant, as far as like making sure that you were fed, making sure that you had, hell, you got any toy you wanted. I can tell you that. But as far as that emotional shit being stable, nah. So I would go towards the emotionally unavailable. And I then, when some girl came on to me, had a liking for me, I was emotionally unavailable. So it's like a constant flux of push and pull, if you will. And lo and behold, if you don't fix that shit in childhood, guess where that shit goes with you in adulthood, right? And it's like learning from that, seeing these things take shape in your life, and asking yourself, are you still living that way? Are you still afraid to open up? Are you still fear that love is going to leave? Abandonment, if you will. Does that person really love you when they tell you that they love you? Do they value you? Are they just saying shit to control you? All these things, I was thinking then, hell, still think to this day on some cases, you know what I'm saying? I truly believe that love is an action word. Yeah, I truly do believe that it's an action word. And people love in various ways. Like there's no way to pinpoint it. You know what I'm saying? Because we all come from different backgrounds as far as what love is to mean to one. You know what I'm saying? But there's a feeling that you get. There's a certain feeling that you get. And when a woman has genuine burning desire, you can tell. You can just feel that shit, man. It's so imminent. And when she doesn't, you know that too. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so eye-opening. But all those talks, the way I used to communicate back then, and looking at it, being able to laugh at it now, and looking at the way to engage with women in communication today, there's been so much growth, right? So much growth, and but you got to be able to remember that those were the building blocks. Like you had to make those mistakes in order to get where you are right now. You still make mistakes, and you learn from that. So 5 years from now, being able to communicate better than I would say I'm doing right now. It's growth, it's evolution. But excuse me. But yeah, that's what I remember how I used to talk to I would say the girls. And I first started talking to them, like I said, about 11, and then getting into, I just leave it at the high school level. At high school, it was just about jokes, literally just jokes, and being emotionally unavailable, not allowing myself to get that close. But if I got that close, it was just somebody that was emotionally unavailable, because that was familiar to me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like in the constant chase. Yeah. And if you're chasing, that means it's running away. And that's where chasing ends for me, in my mind, knowing that. But anyway, that was how I communicated when I first started talking to girls. How can a man with low funds make an interesting date? A man with low funds making an interesting date. Learn how to cook, number one. That's one thing. Know how to cook, know what music to play while cooking, know how to communicate, number one. It don't cost much to have peace, man. Like, I'll say that, just knowing how to communicate, knowing how to ask the questions that allows a person to expound on whatever that topic is, and allows a person to think about themselves, number one. Because everybody, that's one of the key points that stands out in like How to Win Friends and Influence People with Dale Carnegie, is people love to talk about themselves. So it's like asking the right questions for them to elaborate about themselves. You know what I'm saying? We love to feel seen, heard, and loved. So like being able to engage like that. I mean, if you have low funds, you can make hood meals. You can make gourmet hood meals. It's just like piecing shit together. When you've had to struggle, when you've been humble, and then of course being with a woman who can appreciate that too, and you can make you have breakfast for dinner type shit, but put effort into it. You know what I'm saying? Don't just come with like 3 strips of turkey bacon and a Pop-Tart talking about here baby. No, that's not gonna happen. But to be able to hook them like that biscuits and gravy up, to hook them eggs, the bacon, if you got, you know what I'm saying, like real bacon, not no fucking turkey bacon. It's healthy, but fuck that, man. That greasy pork, or ramen, depending on how you do the ramen. You can get like a bag of some shrimp, hook that bitch up, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't advise that being like a something to do all the time, but the ability to learn how to cook, you know what I'm saying? Like to be able to burn a little bit, but communicate, I think is a key way to do such. Have a dope date on with low funds. Also the beach. You know what I'm saying? Like being able to go to the beach and grab drinks or whatever from gas station, sit out and just, you can say nothing, or you can just reflect on life, whichever, whatever comes up. But I mean, that's what I see as like a young man that maybe not down on his luck, but just low on funds at the time. It's an idea that they could probably create to make a moment with that young lady or young man that he's seeing. When did you know you were ready to take life seriously? I'd say I knew I was ready to take my life seriously as far as the goals for myself. It was really when I learned about the rat race, really, like reading Rich Dad Poor Dad and just learning about the rat race and like knowing that if we stay working the safe 9 to 5 and don't try to build our own business, we're going to get the same things we've been getting. The lack of time for family, the lack of time to spend with self. And instead of investing into yourself to build something to where you can create your own schedule, I mean, to me, that is the gift that keeps on giving for anyone that you value in your life. And to make the sacrifices, right? The sacrifice to build something that will, for sure, help everyone involved, you know what I mean, at some point in time. And when you're the only one that can see that vision, having the courage to go ahead and just keep pursuing that and lose people along the way. Is it challenging? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, it's challenging, but those goals, you know what I'm saying, they keep you going. And it's the gift that keeps on giving too. Just investing. You'll never, you'll never lose in this life, making yourself the priority, as a man. And because again, we're love based off what we do, what we can do, providing, if you will. So constantly working on that, constantly becoming something greater than you were the year prior. But I just wanted to look at myself. I saw how many times I would quit a lot of things. Shit gets too challenging. I'm entitled. I'm not supposed to go through anything tough. So fuck this shit. I'm out. Taking my ball and I'm going home. And the thing is, when you quit, you start over. And you keep starting over. And when you don't have that talk, right? That talk with you you're gonna endure some shit. You're gonna go through some pains. You're gonna go through some struggles. You're going to feel like quitting. But don't cry to quit. Cry to keep going, as Eric Thomas, E.T., always talks about. Get a reward from it. And I think that's key. I really believe that's key, is to keep going, right? You're not going to be able to see the next step. Just take the next step. You know what I'm saying? Just keep going, but stay focused on what you're doing. Make sure you know where your ship is headed. You might not be able to see, you know what I'm saying? You might not be able to see the steps, but you can write out a plan of where you want to go with your life. You know what I'm saying? And God and the universe will take care of the rest. That's one thing I can say. Days where I want to quit doing this shit, and then I'll get a nice reminder from the universe, from somebody that I know, somebody else, hell, people that I don't know, and it was like, that's why you did this. That's why you chose to do this. You did this for yourself, number one, but more so to heal. And then two, it was about using your story to help others heal. It's for them to look at themselves and ask themselves if they can relate to it. If they can relate to it, great. If not, then fuck it. But like, to have a place where you can be a man and be safe enough to share these things. that's really what I try to do, because it's very tough on us as men to really speak on said emotions and things like that. But you get to a point where you just don't give a fuck, and it's healing. It becomes very healing to just speak on what's going on in your inner mind, right? I decided to do that. That's what I chose to do. And then doing your best to not let your ego get caught up in this shit too. You know, again, garnering that attention that comes with this shit. It's not easy. You know, you can get beside yourself. You get attached to an identity. And then life has a way of humbling you and recognizing that you are not your identity. You're not attached to your mistakes. You're not attached to your accomplishments. You're the light that shines through. You know what I'm saying? Like, an attachment to an identity can prevent you from going elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? And it's like remembering that you're creating you every day. And when I started those goals back, like I said, like really taking myself seriously with that, trying to build certain things, it allowed me to remove the bullshit, remove the ingredients that are not a part of this journey. And it's tough sometimes, because some of those ingredients feel good. They taste good, you know what I mean? But for what you're trying to make, it's going to require you to remove those ingredients out so that you can obtain the goal. And discipline, so much discipline is required. Being poised, being stoic, being emotionally sound, being emotionally intelligent too, as well. You know, not just a robot. And it can be at times. The work ethic can definitely be like a robot. And hitting the gym and all that stuff, it's just like wired to do so. As soon as you wake up, bam, all right, this is what we got to do. But being able to allow yourself to feel certain times, you know, depends on the situation, that is. But allowing yourself to feel. I look at where I want to go. I look at where other, like, people that I look up to, as far as like the things that they have, and learning their story from reading their books and things like that. Like, all right, so this is what it takes. These are the ingredients to get to, to this level. So do you have the courage to do it? Or are you going to just be mediocre? Just be a mediocre male, if you will. I don't even call that a man. You know, to me, there's nothing mediocre about a man. So be this boy. Just be this boy to live an average life. Or try to push yourself so that you can put your family and those that you love in positions to where they have less stress, less anxiety, less depression. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Putting yourself in that, being able to endure whatever criticism that comes along with it, any hatred, any jealousy, any envy, and recognize it has nothing to do with you. Truly. Like, that's the secret of all of this shit. Nothing that anyone does is about you. And it's like remembering that and keeping that in mind when you're faced with certain challenges that, you know, it's energy. Everything is energy, right? So like when you start to better yourself, you irritate certain demons in others. And they're sent there, I believe, you know, from just to see how bad you want it. They're testing you to see how bad that you want it. And it's about being poised and being able to detach and look at things from another perspective, you know, a higher perspective, looking at things, how small it looks from space and how small we are in the universe from space. Like, you know, and just thinking that we're so hot shit. We think we're bigger than we are. And we're no more important than a flower in a garden, a flower in, you know, wherever, you know what I'm saying? A flower doesn't worry about another flower. It just grows, it just blooms, it lives. Just as it lives, it dies. And but for us humans we think that we're more important than we really are, which is where the ego comes into play. And we think that we're more important, like from a hot shot level. And then we think that we're more important than we are from like a blame level. it's all my fault. Everything is my fault. I'm the worst person. And it's like, you ain't that fucking important. You're not that damn important, man. You gotta laugh at yourself, your ego, when you start talking to yourself. That's not even you talking, because you would never say that shit about yourself. That's the fucking ego. That's the trained voice from trauma that you've endured. People have said shit to you. They were unhappy with themselves, so they said some things to you to make themselves feel better. It's a bitch move. Call it what it is. It's a bitch move. But when you have that notion in your mind, you can carry yourself in kindness and live in love and not live in fear, and avoid the unhappy and the unlucky, like your life depends upon it, because it does. And say it all the time, and I'll continue to say that shit. Avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. Like they're not about to let your success invade on their unhappiness. You know what I'm saying? Like some people love to sit in misery and like why they don't have shit. But when you take it upon yourself to say, fuck it, I'm gonna take life on and I'm gonna go after what the fuck I want to go after, then they don't want to be left out. So they'll say whatever it takes to keep you at the level with them. Fuck them. You know what I'm saying? Like, invest into you. Yeah, invest in you. Become the best version of yourself. And watch what life does for you. Watch how God and his universe meets you halfway with that. And the people that leave when you start to elevate, they weren't meant to go with you to that next altitude. And you just have to take that. You have to accept that. Just appreciate the time that you spent with them. And then when time is up, time is up. We don't own it. We don't own anything. We don't own anybody. But for the time being, while you're in that moment with them, be sure to learn. Be sure to learn from them. Learn yourself. Number one, as far as what you're willing to put up with, what you're not willing to put up with. But no wasted time. No wasted time. Just stay with it. So, essentially that's where I started to take myself seriously. When I started, again, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Rich Dad Poor Dad changed a lot of things for me. And I'll still push that book on everybody to read it at least once. You read that book at least once. You probably read it more than once you learn what you learn. But there's so much out here to be taken. You know what I'm saying? And I also recommend listening to The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. You can find that on YouTube. You can find it in podcasts, whatever. But listen or find the book too. You can buy the book on Amazon. The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. It changes the way you view things as we become what we think about. And grateful to the granddaddy. Can't call him Unc because he old as shit and dead. But I'm grateful to Granddaddy Earl, for breaking it down like that the way that he did. But it changed my viewpoint on a lot of things. And there's times where you can get caught up in the matrix. You can get caught up in the world. But you can also detach and remove yourself. It's like you unplug the computer. Sometimes it overheats, your brain overheats. You have to unplug and get out of nature. And then you're able to see things from a healthier perspective than what you had before. But you're more powerful than you give yourself credit for. Now, you're not more important than you think you are, but you're more powerful because that's how you're made in God's image. You know what I'm saying? And imagine the powers that he has, that's made within you. But we're human. That's it. We're just human beings. So just remember to be. That is it for that. So that's where I started to take life seriously. Still get sidetracked from time to time, but I have a strong foundation which is able to reel me back in, and I'm grateful for having that. But that's all I got. So I'm out. Good night, kids.
Thank you.